So welcome to this masterclass. But as with all of this work, let's just take a moment to center and set an intention for today, hey? To get the absolute most. I don't know what your intention is. I don't know what vision you've got for today, but just take a moment to notice your surroundings. Just take a moment to just listen carefully to what's going on around you. Just see if you can hear a couple of sounds, maybe 4 or 5 sounds where you're sitting. Just listen carefully to what's going on around you. And then once you're present to your surroundings, become present to your physiology. Just sit with your toes, wriggle your toes and notice the sensation in your toes. And then work all the way through your body, just being present in your body and noticing what's touching your skin all the way through. Moving your calves, moving your thighs, rotating your hips, just noticing what you can feel. Temperature, moisture, clothing, tactile feelings. And take a moment to take a couple of nice deep breaths. Just letting go of any tension in your shoulders, in your arms, in your hands. Really feeling yourself relaxing. Allowing your thoughts to be whatever they are. Noticing how you're feeling mentally, how you're feeling emotionally, how you're feeling physically. And then choosing to be in your creator space. Just imagining yourself stepping into your creator sphere. Feeling the light of your higher self pouring through you until you are in your purest form. And choosing to be of service to your higher self. Choosing to be awake to not just hearing, but really understanding, not just exploring, but really discovering who you truly are in your highest form. Taking every opportunity to be of service to your higher self, and also being in innocence, letting go of any need to know how that has to look, when it has to be, what you're going to be hearing today. And in this space, allow yourself to set an intention. What is your intention for the hour that we've got together or so? Just set an expectation. And then bring that energy back into the time that we've got, because that's shifted it. That's the way to start a weekend. Feeling your heart fully open and feeling in service to the others here. That's beautiful. So thanks for joining me for that. So today it's about making choices. So maybe we start by just popping in the chat box, what do you think is the reason for making choices? When you take out your choices in the morning, why do you make choices? Yeah, stepping back into your intuition, focus, getting clarity, choosing what you focus on, reorientation, intuitive guidance, yeah. Letting your subconscious know your heart's desires, that's a good one. Staying on the path of true purpose, love it. Yeah, to direct your energy, nice. Focus your intentions for the day, that's it, yeah. Shift from set A to set B. To choose clarity, focus your heart's desires, focus your attention. Yeah, interesting. Nobody's got the one that I think is the key. Connecting energetically, beautiful, lovely. Higher vibrations is all good. To be in our creator, that's a good reason. Setting up the structure has integrity. Yeah, well done, Becky, it's a good one. Living my higher self. These are all good reasons. These are all good reasons. I like them. Creative orientation, yeah, letting subconscious know what we want, it's all good. Yeah, nothing wrong with those at all. Yeah, let my heart lead. I think those are all good. I think those all have great merit. I think they all have good merit, but I think one of the key things in here is to get action steps, to get good, clear action steps that are directly towards what you want. I think that's the primary reason I step into my choices. I go, there's lots of things I can do in there, and there's lots of reasons for using choices. All of those things you brought up there, fantastic. But what I want when I get my choices, at the end of making my choices, is I want 2 very clear action steps towards what I want. That's what I'm going for when I make my choices. So thanks for sharing that. One of the reasons I wanted to run this masterclass was that I'm really aware that when you learn something new, it's fresh, and you go, right, I do this and this and this and this. And we start doing that. And then after a while, we get lazy. We start doing things, when you're making our choices, but we forget why we're doing it. And some things get dropped off. Some things in the process, we go, oh yeah, well, I don't need to do that. Yeah, I know. Yep, I know. Yep, I know. And we drop them off the process of why we're making choices. And I think there's some critical steps that I just want to refresh in your mind. So nothing that I say today should be a surprise, but hopefully it's a reminder as to why each step in the process I'm going to take you through is important. That's my objective for you today, is just to remind you why we do each of the things that we do in the choices. So let's have a look at what I want to cover. I want to take you through tension seeks resolution again, because again, that's an underlying principle of choices. We're actually setting up tension. And again, a reminder of that. And what does that look like? Well, tension, doesn't matter what tension it is, will seek resolution. That's the principle that we're working on. And the reason for making choices, obviously, is to set up a tension between a vision and the current reality, and then hopefully resolve that tension in favor of what we love. But remembering, of course, that there's psychological tension that comes into play as well. And psychological tension, if you resolve that, resolves in favor of your beliefs, in favor of the conditions that you think have to be in place before you go for what you want. So remember, this is all about creative tension and creating that tension, which will then solve itself in favor of what you love, which is the whole purpose of what you guys have popped in there. So here's the objective of what we're talking about. We've got a current reality of where you are. You find something that you absolutely love, and you go, yep, that's what I'm after. And because you don't have it, there is a tension between that. And that is untenable to you, because you can't exist with that tension. Something has to give. It's like holding that elastic band between 2 fingers. Eventually, your finger's going to get tired. And one of 2 things will happen. Either you will make actions and take steps so that your current reality changes, and eventually your current reality becomes the vision that you want, in which case you've resolved the tension. Fantastic, you get what you want. But frequently, we give up on the vision, or we reduce the vision, or eventually we just go, yeah, I didn't really want it anyway, too much hassle. And you give up on the vision, and that also resolves the tension. And you know what? It feels fantastic because there's no more tension. So just be aware that if you have a beautiful choice, one of your egoic strategies is to undermine your passion for it and to go, nah, you don't really want that. That's not really important to you. And you go, you know what? Yeah, I just don't think it's true for me anymore. So look for that sort of resistance, anything that undermines your conviction that that's what you would love. That's a typical egoic strategy. And if it's true for your heart to have it, it's very unlikely that in 2 months' time, suddenly you go, yeah, it's no longer true. What's more likely is your ego gets in the way and undermines your faith in you having it. So you give up on it. But there's also your beliefs that come into play. And which way am I going? Going in the wrong direction. But your beliefs, there we go, are creating a psychological tension, a need to understand. And your beliefs create these conditions. I can have the vision, but only when I've got the right body shape, only when I'm fit. I can have that only when I've got enough money, then I can go traveling. I can have what I want, but only when I know enough. Good for number 3, I don't know enough. I'm not good enough. So I got to learn and learn and learn. When I know enough, then I'll be valid. Maybe I need to know the right people, and then I can have what I want. So if you start resolving the psychological tension, what happens is you start going for the right body shape, you start saving money, you start learning, you start studying, you start mixing with the right people, and what happens is you chase all the beliefs in those conditions. And after about 6 months or a year, somebody says to me, so just tell me why you do all the things that you do. And you go, actually, I don't know. It's like at some stage, I just got busy. Anybody have that experience? Yeah, in life, you just get busy and you go, why am I doing what I'm doing? And you go, I don't really know anymore. It's just, that's how life evolved. And the vision just faded. Just like you even forget why you're doing all this other stuff, busy stuff. You forget. So that's what's happening. So let's go and have a look at what making powerful choices looks like. The first step is always stepping into your higher self, taking a moment to step into your creator. And I think that's something that we miss out on. We go, right, let's make our choices, busy. Yeah, let's jump into a circle. Let's jump into here. Let's do it. And taking a couple of moments just to step into service to your higher self fundamentally shifts your perspective. And we end up with much clearer insights. And the second thing is, once you're in service to your higher self, of course, is stepping into innocence. So don't shy away from those two steps. Don't save a little bit of time by just skipping those two steps. And innocence is an interesting one because we learn it in CYD, and then we assume that you know how to do it. But it's a practice. And the more we step into innocence, the more we let go, the easier stepping into innocence becomes. But it's a critical step, because without innocence, why are we doing innocence? Because without innocence, we know. And you don't see what's obvious. What's obvious is what your mind first apprehends before your rational side dismisses it or rationalizes it. So innocence is absolutely fundamental to you being able to see what's obvious. And if the objective of this is to get a clear action step, then seeing what's obvious is absolutely fundamental. So innocence is important. So the next thing is to create a circle. Now, we all know about circle work, but again, taking a couple of seconds to actually imagine, because here's what's happening, remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. Yeah, that's one of the principles we're working on. So it's important for you to sit there and actually imagine the space. And what I find is there's a tendency to go, okay, circle, jump in, but they haven't taken the time to actually imagine the circle. And then, of course, to actually define the inside of that circle. What is the inside of that circle before you step in? Now, I don't mind if you're imagining on the beach turning with a stick, but then I like to step out of that circle, look at the circle and go, right, I can see a space in my mind. And imagining seeing it is really important because you're giving the message to your brain. You see the space here. And then you define it. You go, what's inside this circle is the end result of the choice that I've chosen. And your brain goes, ah. So that when you then imagine stepping into that, your brain goes, oh, we're in the middle of the end result of that thing. And I think that's a really important message to get through. And again, these are little things that I think are being missed out. So imagining the circle, imagine stepping into it rather than, oh, I'm in a circle. But you haven't told your brain, look, I'm going into the circle. So give your brain time to catch up. Yep, I can see you stepping in. So now I know clearly, oh, I'm in the circle. That makes sense. Thumbs up, that makes sense. Yeah. Little things that just make choice making that much more powerful. And accumulatively, this is what it's about. So then once you're in the circle, the next thing is to allow yourself to imagine the end result. And the wording that Fritz put together for this is specific. I choose the end result. It's not the point that I get it. It's what's the consequences of having it. And I think that's a really important definition. It's like, what happens after I get that thing? What's it like actually having what I'm asking for? Yeah. So describing the end result is an important thing, and do it intuitively and allow yourself to luxuriate in it. But here's the thing about the end result. When you describe the end result, have the experience of it. So all of your descriptions of the end result are going to be in the first person and in the present tense. I'm sitting on the beach and I've got friends all around me and we're laughing and the fire's going and, you know, the boat sitting just off the shore. It's the end result and you're in it. Now, you know how William puts a little bit of emphasis on the biblical reference to those that have, even more should be given, and those that don't, even that small little tiny bit that they've got will be taken away. And I think this right here is our practice of that. Think about this. If you're stepping into the end result and you're having a full sensory experience of what the end result is, you've got it. You're sitting there and you're describing it. You know, I'm laughing and I'm tasting and I'm smelling and I'm hearing, and this is what I'm feeling. You are having an experience of it. And there's a big difference between that and the dreaming of going, one day I'm going to have a yacht. One day I'm going to have, you know, a partner. One day I'm going to, and all you're doing when you're dreaming is actually highlighting the fact I don't have and I want. Yeah, you're putting yourself in the category of I don't have. So the importance of describing the end result and sitting in it and describing it in the first person, in the present tense of what it's like actually having it, puts you in the category of I have. And for 10 minutes a day, you are an I have. You actually have an experience of it. And I think that's what plays into, I think that's what makes choices so powerful, is actually having that experience. So don't skip out on it. Now, the first time you do the vision circle, you come up with a new something you want and you're creating the vision for the first time. Let's say you're going to decorate your living room. The first time you decide to decorate your living room, you walk around the living room, don't you? And you go, I wonder what colors I should paint the wall. And you imagine, oh, I'm gonna use this, you know, Lexicon half white or whatever it is that you're thinking. I'm going to do the ceilings in this. I'm going to do a feature wall there. And, you know, the curtains, yeah, we're going to change the curtains. Let's get rid of the curtains and we're going to put beautiful blinds in, and what flooring is going to go in, and then what carpet's going to go in, and then what furniture and what hangings on the wall I'm going to put. And you sit and luxuriate in it, don't you? You sit and create every aspect of it. That's the first time. Once you've got the vision, what happens the next time you imagine it? You imagine what it's like being in there. You just sit in one of the chairs and you go, this is how it's going to feel being in here. And so the first couple of times of doing the vision, sure, luxuriate, sit there, go into the detail, explore it, work out all the little bits and pieces and imagine what it's going to be like. But after a while, it's actually not necessary to have to go through 10 minutes of visualization and luxuriating in the end result. It's enough to go, this is how it makes me feel. Because what you really want to be doing is telling your subconscious, make me feel like this. Yeah. You want to be able to step into the vision and go, this feeling, that's what I choose. And this speeds up your choice making considerably. Yeah. If you're short of time in the morning, don't spend the time luxuriating in the vision. Step into the vision, go for the feeling. And as soon as you've got that feeling, oh, yes, this feeling. Good. That's the stick in the sand and out. Take you 4 or 5 seconds to do that when you know your choices well. Here's a big difference. If I'm going to cook dinner for you because it's your birthday, and you go, I would love you to cook dinner for me. Thank you. And I go, oh, fantastic. And I'm walking towards the kitchen and I've got ideas and I'm doing a 5-course meal and it's going to have these things. And I'm really excited about cooking you dinner. And you go, oh, but by the way, I don't like eggs. Don't put egg in anything. I go, oh, there goes the souffle. There goes the pudding. They go, okay, no worries, no eggs. Right, I got it, no eggs. And then you go, hey, and I want 3 courses. And I go, 3 courses? Well, I was going to do 5, but you only want 3. Oh, yeah, all right. I'll get rid of that course and I'll get rid of the soup. Okay, no worries, I got it. And then I'm just walking to, I think, okay, I'm not as excited anymore. And you go, and also, by the way, and by that stage, my arms are crossed and I'm going, what? Well, you fucking cooked dinner. You know, I'm losing interest really rapidly. So think about your subconscious in a similar way. If you say to your subconscious, this is how I choose to feel, subconscious gets really excited and goes, oh my God, there's 100 ways that I can make that happen for you. And for you, oh, yes, Number 78 for you. Oh, this is going to be brilliant. And it's got cherries on top and you're never going to know what hit you. This is awesome. And then you go, oh, and also, by the way, it's got to have this. You go, oh, okay. Well, 78 is not for you then, okay. And also it's got to have this, and it's also got to have this. And at the end, the subconscious goes, oh, fuck, what a compromise, you had no idea what I was going to do for you. Because I can't count the number of times people call up and go, yes, it's happened. And then in the same breath, I had no idea it was going to happen like that. But this is it. This is it. I know this feeling, and this is what I chose. And it comes in a way that they could never have possibly foreseen. So this is a way of just writing a blank check to your subconscious and going, make me feel like this. I don't care how you do it. I just want to feel like that. Because isn't it true? You don't really care how it happens. You want to feel the end result. You want to feel like that. So that's my suggestion to you, is go for the feeling, find the essence, find the energy of the end result, and choose that. Give that to your subconscious to create. And it'll create it in the most miraculous ways that you could never have prescribed. Ego wants to go, how's it going to be? And how's the plan? And where's the plot? And where's it going to come from? And I want to control each aspect all the way to the goal. Subconscious is very bored with that. Oh, that's limiting. Give it to me and let me do it in my way. And I'll do it in ways that will just make your heart sing and put a song in your, a skip in your step and a song in your heart. So you want to go for how it makes you feel. Ultimately, that's going to serve you better. And then it's really important to imagine stepping out of that circle. And we sort of miss that step of going, right, I'm walking to the edge of the circle and I'm jumping out of it. Yeah, you're leading it in place. Remember, every decision you ever make about that choice is going to be made from the vision circle. So I never rub anything out and things like that. And I don't even knock the edge on the way out. I step out of it, I jump out of my circles, leave them intact. Then, of course, we need to take a little walk down the beach and imagine defining a second circle. Then we need to imagine stepping into that circle. So I'm being kind of pedantic here and going each of these steps of imagine drawing it. You're defining the space, and then what does that really mean? And this one, we're obviously going to define as the current reality of the choice. So the next thing about defining the second circle is that what I'm finding is people are going, oh, current reality circle, jumping into the current reality. One of the steps that's missed here is this is your current reality in relation to the choice that you're making. Kind of blooming obvious, isn't it? But if you're not telling your subconscious, you step into your current reality circle, and guess what? You've got a current reality around your health. You've got a current reality around your partner. You've got a current reality around work. You've got a current reality around your family. You've got a current reality around every aspect of community and money. And you've just said, right, what's my current reality? Okay, here it is. And you've got all this jumble of thoughts, and you go, how does that relate to whatever the choice I'm working on? So make it specific. Make it specific in relation to the choice that you're working on. Then you imagine stepping into the circle, and you're stepping into there in innocence, looking for what's obvious. One of the problems that happens is that we have a problem in our life, so we make a choice. And then when we get to doing the current reality, I know what my current reality is. I know how I'm feeling. I know what's going on. I know what the bastard did to me. I know. And we step in there going, oh, fuck, I know about the current reality. And you miss the opportunity of allowing your superconscious to inform you of what is bloomin' obvious. And you don't know. So step into your current reality circle initially completely in innocence, going, I don't know where I am in relationship to this. And notice what's obvious. Go back to the principle of allowing your superconscious to inform you of what's obvious. It's what's there before your rational mind goes, yep, I know. And sure, after you spent some time in the current reality going, here's what's obvious to me, and writing it down and allowing your subconscious to inform you, then go on to what you already know. Add those things in afterwards. And the other thing is, when you're stepping into your current reality circle, you can even set the intention of what's stopping you from getting the end result that you want to be obvious. So intention carries a strong thing. Intention to be in innocence, intention to see what's obvious, and the intention that what's stopping you from getting what you want to be obvious. So those are sort of 3 ways of stepping in there. What you want to be in here is super specific. And the example of this is, let's imagine for a second that the party's on at my place and I've invited you all. And I would love you to come to the party, and you've all gone, fantastic, we're coming from all around the country and this is going to be an amazing event, and you're very excited. And I get a phone call from you going, hey, I'm in Sydney. I go, fantastic. And you go, so how do I get to your place? And I go, where are you? And you go, I told you I'm in Sydney. And I go, yeah, where in Sydney? And you go, I don't know. And I go, okay, well, give me a call when you do. Like, seriously, if I'm your superconscious giving you instructions to where you want to be, and you tell me you're in Sydney, how am I supposed to give you directions? The best directions I'm going to give you are head north. Yeah, can't do much more than that, because you're in Sydney, you're south of me. Head north. But if you say to me, I'm on the corner of Angry and Sad Street, I go, I know where you are. Okay, you need to head down Angry Street for about 3 blocks. On your right-hand side, you're looking for West Street. You're going to go down there, you're going to come to a roundabout, you're going to take the second exit, you're going to find the freeway at the end of that, head north on that for 27 minutes. You're going to take this exit. Now I can give you very explicit directions. But don't ask your superconscious for, give me an accurate and specific action step to take, if the best you can do in the current reality, which is where you're up to on the journey. Yeah, think about your current reality. You're on a journey and you're heading for somewhere else. And you need to describe to your superconscious, this is where I'm at. Take me from here to where I want to be. So make it really specific. This is where I'm at. And you know what? Your current reality doesn't always feel comfortable, does it? This is the part where working with somebody is good, because they keep you in the current reality for longer than you would normally keep yourself. So have a little bit of discipline and spend your time in the current reality circle getting really clear of where you are in there. Emotions are okay. So sit with the discomfort. And the more accurate you get, the better directions you're going to get given. So bear that in mind. All right, so there's what to do in current reality. Now, these are optional additional things to do. Some of you will be familiar with these. I don't know who's running on my screen, but anyway. The emotion of the circle. What is the predominant emotion in the circle? It's true that you have feelings, yeah? It's true that those feelings aren't a reflection of reality. We know that thoughts and feelings aren't real. They're not real reflection of what's really going on, but we still have them, don't we? So when you're in the current reality circle and you're stirring up the pot and looking at where you are in relationship to where you want to be, it's okay to sit with the emotions. In fact, it's kind of important to sit with the emotions and go, you know, the predominant emotion here is sadness. I don't know about you, but every 5-year-old, and we've got 4 kids that I've dealt with, and all their friends and things like that, they just need to be heard. If a 5-year-old comes running in and wants attention, you ignore them at your peril, because they just escalate and escalate and escalate until you have to show them attention. And then you go, what is it? You know, eventually. And they go, oh, look, I got the caterpillar. And you go, awesome. Maybe Mr. Caterpillar would like to be on the lawn. Okay. And off they go again, but they've been heard. And it's a bit like that. Emotions just need to be acknowledged. We're terrible in Western culture for really not self-validating very well. Cultures in Africa where I grew up, cultures in India, cultures in all sorts of other parts of the world have these great initiation ceremonies. And they say very clearly to young adults, you are no longer a child. So stop this thing of looking for validation somewhere else. You are now the adult. And they go to extraordinary lengths to prove to the individual exactly how powerful and amazing they are. And the adult then goes, I am. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm a creator, and now I'm in charge. And they say, right, now you're responsible for yourself. Now you're responsible not just for yourself, but for the next generation. not just the next generation, but your village and your community and your environment. You must now take care of that. And the person goes, right, I'm top of the food chain now. It's up to me. And they stop looking to their parents and to their friends and to anybody else who will listen. Oh, give me validation, you know. We don't have that. But this is where it stops in current reality. And you go, yeah, how am I feeling? And we sit with it and go, I'm feeling really sad. And then you know what? At least somebody knows, even if it's just me. But that's how you deal with validation. So it's an important part of current reality, I would put to you. So take a moment just to acknowledge the emotion. If you're short of time, don't worry about these extra steps. You don't have to do it every time you're in here. So if I'm feeling sad and I'm a creator, I've spent some time studying who I am. And I know that when I'm feeling sad, here's my egoic strategy for dealing with that pain. If I'm angry, I know what I'm going to be doing. So I'm now on the alert for what is my egoic strategy for dealing with the pain? I'm going to be hiding. I'm going to be over preparing. I'm going to be, whatever it is that you do. And you go, right. So when I'm doing that, I don't have to do it anymore. I'm looking for that behavior now, because that's your exit point from your pattern. Your pattern puts you on a track of egoic behavior and you just follow that pattern. And everything you do, I don't know who's drawing on my screen. Stop drawing on my screen. Take it away. But if I know what my egoic strategy is, I'm looking for that behavior. So when I'm doing it, I can go, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I can stop doing that and recognize it as the egoic behavior. And I can step out of that and step back into my creator. I'm looking at to tell me that I'm in my set A. It's another flag for me to go, oh, you're in your ego. Now it's time to step out of that. So when you've identified the emotion, look at what your natural egoic strategy is to remove that pain, and so that you can stop doing that, basically. And then the third thing is one of the things that stops us from really going for the end result that we would love is the fear of something. Yeah. And one of the things that kills creativity is an attachment to having to get a certain outcome. Yeah. And once you've got an attachment, I've got to get the outcome. Why do you think you get more and more attached to having to get it? It's to avoid the fear of not getting it or some other catastrophe. So in current reality, it's really important then to be aware of what that worst case scenario is. I'm going to go for this thing. I'm going to walk across the room. I'm going to ask this girl, listen, I think you're amazing. Let's dance. What's the worst thing that can happen? I get rejected, or whatever it is that I'm scared of. You go, oh, okay. And you allow it to be a possibility. Because here's what happens is we go, I don't even want to think about that happening. I don't even want to imagine that. And it takes, well, you've already imagined it, and now you're trying to deny it. Now you're trying to crush it down and hide from it. And guess how much energy it takes to deny something? Huge amounts of energy. No, I don't want to think of that. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that. Not that, not that, not that. Your subconscious goes, what, this thing here that you're so worried about? Okay, let's make that happen. You can imagine, not this, not this, not this, not this. Guess what's going to happen? That is going to happen. So to put it in your current reality and go, yep, that's the worst thing that could happen. There are 3 reasons you're doing that. One is you're basically saying, this is the elephant in the room. And you know what happens when you talk about the elephant in the room? Everybody goes, we don't have to hide from it anymore. It's just like, yeah, it's there. It's uncomfortable, but it's there. Okay. So you release a huge amount of energy in hiding from it, and it just becomes something. So your mind doesn't have to worry about it anymore. So that's one thing that stops your subconscious honing in on it. The second thing is, because your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, is you are having an experience of what happens if that did happen. So the worst case scenario, you go, oh, shit, okay. Ugh. And you're having an experience of it. Now, what does that do for you? 2 things. One is, this is, and by the way, on your hero's journey, this is facing the dragon. Yeah. In Sufi terms, this is going through hell. This is sitting with the, everything comes to an end. And the other side of that is heaven. The other side of that is wisdom. The other side of that is treasure. So this is the gnarly part of sitting there and going, yeah, this might happen. and you have an experience of it. And it gives you an intensity of emotional response. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. You're imagining it, and it creates a full emotional response to it. But here's the fantastic thing. You're creating a memory of that event having happened. Subconscious later on goes, oh, a lot of energy in this, comes looking and goes, that's okay. Judy's got a memory of it. Therefore, I don't have to create it in the future. And that's an incredibly powerful thing. Think about that for a second. If you've experienced it, you've got a memory of it. Your subconscious is only interested in creating the future. So when the subconscious comes looking at this area, which still has a little bit of energy in it, it goes, that's no worries. This is a memory. We're just reliving a memory. I don't have to create it in the future. And the third really important thing is you've had an emotional response, and the intensity of that emotional response is, I don't know, 9 out of 10. I promise you, if you step out of the current reality circle, recenter, and step back into the current reality circle, which is what you'll be doing on a regular basis as you make the same choice over time, and you imagine the same worst case scenario, the second time you imagine it, it goes from being terrible to being, yeah, that would be bad. And the third time it goes from, that would be bad to, oh yeah, that would happen. And the fourth time it goes from being, oh yeah, that would happen to, oh yeah, it's a possibility, but so what? You literally depower your emotional response to it all the way through your day. And so guess what? Now you can fearlessly start going for it, going, yeah, I know, I might get rejected, but so what? So that's a really important thing to do, at least on an occasional basis for your choices. And that's why that particular one, when you've got time. So then the next thing to notice is that you're in a current reality circle. Now, when you're doing your choices, it's really easy, isn't it? You create a vision circle, you're creating a current reality circle, you know you're about to step out of the current reality circle. But during the day, we find ourselves in current reality circles. We find ourselves triggered. And one of the most valuable things I can teach anybody is that when you recognize you're in a current reality circle, you imagine leaping out of it. You literally imagine yourself as Mary Poppins floating out of it, or, you know, Wonder Woman, or, you know, Superman, or a gymnast doing a couple of backward flick flacks and things like that. You can do that in your imagination, you see. Don't have to be so flexible. And you find yourself out of it. And what have you just done? You've told your brain, I'm no longer in that space. And that's a really important message. Now, why I say notice you're in a current reality circle is because if you recognize what that feeling is like being in the current reality circle, it's heady, it's confusing, it's emotional, it's like a little bit like that. If you recognize that every time you're in a current reality circle, when you're triggered during the day, or when you find yourself in a current reality circle just in the course of the day, you go, what do you know? I'm in a current reality circle. And you know what to do, which is imagine stepping out. And your brain then goes, okay, so where are we? Well, we're on the beach, or we're in the forest, or wherever it is. And what do I do here? I center. So it's really important. The next thing to do after stepping out of a current reality circle is to recenter. Just lift your vibration again. You've been sitting in this very low vibration of your ego. Now it's time to lift it again. And I love taking a deep breath. Just letting go of all the stress that I had in current reality. Just breathe it back as a black cloud back into the current reality circle. And then I just take a deep breath as a creator, feel myself filling up, my heart opening back up again, getting perspective, not just of where I'm standing, but like the universe, reconnecting to being a child of the universe, reconnect to being of service to my higher self. And then, of course, stepping back into innocence. Now you find the first circle that you drew. And again, in innocence, you're stepping back into the vision circle and you're imagining, you're reconnecting with the energy of how it made you feel. So what happens after you've done that? So now you're stepping into the end result again, you're reconnecting to that. What are we essentially doing? I don't mind drawing here. Now I can draw. So if this is the vision that you're standing in, oh, let's go back. There we go. No, can't. Okay, so if this is the vision that you're standing in, this is basically you moving forward in time and having a full experience of what it's like being here. And as a creator, you're connected to everything through all time and space. So essentially you're moving through into the future and you know what it's like being here. Now, in your room where you're sitting in the present moment. But as you sit in the future, you can remember what you are about to do next to get here, because you're already there. So you're playing with your imagination and you're going, this is what it's like being in the future. What am I about to do to get here? And you allow yourself to remember. So that's the first way of getting your action step. And because you've been very explicit about your current reality, and because you're very clear about where you are, your superconscious goes, well, to get here from where you described you are, this is what you do next. And you're looking for the one action step that's going to take you there, one step at a time. And don't question it. The other way of getting your action step is if you are in the future, this is your vision circle, you imagine turning in that circle until you're looking directly towards the current reality circle that you drew. And you imagine that there's a bridge between them. And it doesn't matter what bridge you imagine. You literally imagine a bridge, a suspension bridge, a stone arch bridge, a wooden bridge, a plank bridge, whatever you want. And then you walk from the vision circle across the bridge until you're basically standing 2/3 of the way across, and you look at this end of the bridge. This is what I do anyway. I'm looking at this end of the bridge, and I describe this end of the bridge. So it's got 2 posts, and there's some sort of flowers, but basically there's just a worn wooden ramp that leads to here. And then I go, right, that is my symbol. That is my symbol. So if that's what that end of the bridge looks like, how I got onto the bridge to walk across to the vision, then what's the first step I took? Well, worn wooden planks. What does that mean to me? And I just interpret that as my symbol. It means that I know what I'm doing, and there's handrails. I reach out for help and I steady myself. And that means that I have to reach out to somebody that knows what this is about. Oh, good. I get an assistant, or I get a VA, or that's what it means to me. And you make it up. But basically you're using the bridge, or that end of the bridge, to know what the next action step is. And you use it as your symbol, and you just do a symbol interpretation. Yeah? Does that make sense? That used to be the standard way. It's why it's called the bridge. But sometimes we forget why it's called the bridge. So those are 2 ways of doing it. So the next thing is you write down that action step. I don't know how many times I've been out walking and I do my choices and I don't have my choices with me or anything to write with. And I get a fantastic action step and I go, oh, brilliant. Yep, I'm going to do that. And then later in the afternoon, I go, what was it that I had to do? I can't remember. It was really good though. I'll remember it. And then the next day, you know what, I go, it's even further behind. I've lost it. Because your ego doesn't want you to take action. So guess what your ego strategy is? It makes you forget. So write down your action steps, put them down so you can tick them. And one of the things of writing them down is that you tick them off and you go, there, you see, I'm a creator. I took my action step, and you build momentum by ticking stuff off. So don't let your ego jump in and allow you to forget it. So here are a couple of observations. Action steps do not need to make rational sense to you. If you imagine an A4 piece of paper as the 400 billion bits of information you get in a day, and you take out one tiny little 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter square and go, well, that defines the 200,000 or whatever it is, things that I'm aware of that agree with my definitions of myself, definitions of others, definitions of how the world works, my little reference box. What are the possibility of the action step falling within that 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter box? The chances are your action step's going to fall outside of your frame of reference. So it's not going to make rational sense to you. And that's one of our difficulties as human beings, is we get these action steps and we go, that doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know why I have to do that. Logically, that's silly. Why would I do that? And we don't do it. And our subconscious goes, just, geez, I I give you the answer and you don't do it. And you kill your creativity. You know, that upward spiral. I want something, I take an action, get a receptor and celebrate it. If you're not taking action steps that you're getting, then you're basically telling your subconscious, I don't trust my superconscious. I don't trust my higher self to tell me what to do. And it goes, yeah, you don't trust. And it slows the whole process down. So are you going to do this or not? Yeah, I'm going to do it, but I'm not taking action. I'm not taking the actions that I should be taking. So you crush a creation by not getting not getting an intuitive action step and then not taking that intuitive action step, because we dismiss it. You sort of need to be in innocence to see it in the first place, and then you need to write it down, and then you need to follow it through. And my example of this is the green park bench. Working with somebody, and the intuitive action step was to sit on a green park bench. So the next time I saw her, I said, did you sit on the green park bench? She went, nah, it just seemed silly. Because we agreed that she even knew a green park bench. That was like part of it. Yeah, no, there is one 15 minutes from my house, you see. And this was in relationship to having a relationship. It's just like, okay, it's a bit of a random one, but it's still a valid action step. Go and sit on the freaking park bench. So next time I saw her, I said, did you sit on the green park bench? And she was all quiet. She was all like, oh, well, you know. I said, I'll go and spill the beans. And she'd sat on the park bench, and she had sat there 5 minutes feeling like an idiot. And then a guy had stopped and asked for directions. And she said, well, that place is just past my home. I'll walk you there. And by the time they got there, they were holding hands, you know, and they ended up going out. So, you know, it's like, it doesn't have to make rational sense. It just has to be what you get, and you go, all right, I'm going to do it. So bear that in mind. Don't be surprised by irrational action steps. The chances of it being rational are small. The second thing is make it very specific. I don't know how many times people go, exercise more. Good. And that's the action step, exercise more. But what the heck does exercise more mean? You want an action step that a 6-year-old will be able to tell you, yes, I got it. Yes, you did it. No, you didn't do it. If it's exercise more, you get to the end of tomorrow and you go, did I exercise more today? Yeah, sort of. I'm probably standing a little bit longer than I normally do. Yeah, no, that's right. I went and got the post. So yeah, I'd had a bit of a walk. So you have to say I exercised more. But it's not specific, is it? Like, if your action step is, and your creator knows very explicitly what it is, don't ever give yourself the headspace to go, I don't really know. You know, this isn't really clear. It's sort of like, maybe exercise a little bit more. No, cut that bullshit out. Your higher self knows exactly what that action step is. So make it so that it's specific. If you think it's exercising more, then what does that mean to you? You're going to do yoga for half an hour, 4 times a week from now until the end of August. That's a nice specific action step. Yeah. And then you've either done it or you haven't. So really make it specific so you can go, yes, I did that. And you tick it off, rather than this nebulous, ongoing sort of thing. Go specific, make it specific. It'll really speed up your getting what you want. And, you know, feeling uncomfortable is okay, because here's something that I know very clearly about action steps. They should make you feel uncomfortable. Why? Because your ego is there to protect you from going for your heart. So now you're telling yourself, I'm going to go straight for what I want. And your ego is going to throw a little bit of a tantrum and go, oh, that's a bit scary. Don't do that. We're going to get hurt if you do that. You go, thank you for letting me know. But yep, good, I'm on track. So feeling uncomfortable with your action step is okay. You want to feel a bit uncomfortable. Here's a truth for you. Your action step should be big enough to make you feel uncomfortable. Not so big that you wake up tomorrow and you go, oh no, Christ, I'm not doing that. And you just completely chicken out. Because what are you telling your subconscious? Yeah, I'm not serious about my, this choice. You don't want it so small that it feels comfortable. And you go, yeah, I'm going to think about it. And the subconscious goes, you don't get any credit for that. You were thinking about it anyway. So basically you're not taking any action on it. Therefore, you're not serious about it. Therefore, I'm not going to create it for you. Yeah, that's what your subconscious is thinking. It's got to be convincing for your subconscious to go, oh, you're serious about it. Yeah. So go for something that's just right. And just right, Goldilocks, is that feeling of big enough to make you feel uncomfortable and a little bit excited, but also notice there's a sense of power. When you commit to something that is a direct action towards it. It should feel a little bit tingly of like, ooh, this is a bit nervy, like you're about to step onto stage, but it also should feel incredibly powering. You should feel yourself going, right, that's it, we're going for this. Yeah, it should feel absolutely fantastic with a tingle of nerves underneath. That's the right place. Because remember, if, and I don't know what the next slide is, next step. Yeah, here we go. So then you commit to taking that action. You go, yep, I'm going to do that. And notice that feeling of empowerment. If you, notice how it makes you feel, because actually this is a really key indicator. If how it makes you feel is a huge sense of relief, you go, ah, right, I'm going to do that. Be warned, you're probably resolving a psychological tension. If you're taking an intuitive action step, it should make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Just notice. It'll feel a huge sense of relief if you're going to go, okay, I'm going to deal with getting more money. Great, now I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to get to know a few more people. I'm just going to, I'm just going to do a course and just learn a little bit more. Basically, you're putting off going directly for what you want, and you're giving yourself something to get busy with that you think is important from a egoic perspective to get before you go for what you want. And that will leave you feeling hugely relieved. So notice you shouldn't feel absolutely comfortable getting an action step and committing to it. So that's that. And then what else have I got in here? Take the action step. Yeah, that's the next thing to do. So there's my 18 set, and look, please don't think 18 freaking steps, man. I don't have enough time to do that. All of those it's taken a hell of a long time to discuss them and why we do them, but each of them is actually really, really quick. Choices should still be 2 choices a day, should be taking you 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. And we've worked out how to speed that up a bit by stepping into the vision circle quickly, stepping out, spending your time in the current reality. If you've got time, depowering that before making your choice, getting your action steps from the vision. So are there any questions? Fantastic. So any burning questions? Yeah, Elizabeth. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, and I'm sorry I popped on late. And that was really, thank you so much for that. It was really refreshing. My question for you is, well, and I apologize, you may have answered this already, but 2 questions. Doing the choices every day, like you don't just kind of do like a few during the week and then like, like big choices that you do a little bit.
Yeah, choices every day. So there are 2 orientations, and your default orientation is called your default because if you haven't made a choice, you're in your default. So when you wake up in the morning, it's the one time of the day that you know 100% which orientation you're in. I wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off. I go, oh yeah, I'm in my set A. I just know. It's the first thought I have. So until you've made choices, until you've made a choice at least, you're going to stay in your ego. So making choices every day is a mechanism for shifting you out of A into B for the rest of the day, until you've made a choice. So yeah, pick 2 choices that feel uncomfortable, because your ego will tell you very clearly which ones are closest to your heart. They're the ones you don't want to do. Do the ones that you don't want to do, because those are the ones that will give you the best return.
Thank you.
Elizabeth. Good one.
And quick question. So I suspect I'm in the category of half-wise, where I've like made choices and I've dropped off, and I know like there's some pretty strong egoic resistance that I've dealt with, where there's just been a lot of resistance. So do you have a suggestion for people in that category?
Yeah, make your choices. Because what does it do? It puts you into your creator. Now, there are 3 skill sets that are muscles. Yeah. The first is awareness of which orientation you're in. And that's a muscle. The more we practice it, the better we get at recognizing. The second thing is will. It takes will. And again, that's a muscle. The more you use your will to shift you from set A into set B. The more you step into your creator, step into your current reality, step into your creator, what are you doing? You're taking the initiative and going, I am focused on this, I am focused on that. And that's developing your muscle, your will muscle. You become stronger and stronger at that. And the third of the trilogy, in my opinion, is imagination. What are you doing? You're imagining the vision, you're imagining recentering, you're imagining a circle, you're imagining stepping into it, you're imagining what it's like. Yeah. So those three give you access, imagination gives you access to your intuition. Your intuition comes to you through imagination. And remember when we did and then stories, it got easier and easier and easier the more the story went on. The more you practice each of those skills, the stronger you get in them. And what's the best way to do that? Choices. So if you're not good at making choices and you're a bit wishy-washy and your ego kidnaps you, do choices twice as much.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Karen, I think, and then Elizabeth. Another Elizabeth. Rafferty. So Karen, hey. Hi.
Hello, Guy. That was so fantastic. I've written pages and pages.
Miss Rafferty. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi there. Thank you for this. It's been really informative. I'm actually looking for clarification about the choices. So we get the choices from the land of plenty, but I'm stuck. This is where I've been a bit stuck with this bit. I'm trying to get a definition of the choices. Can you give examples?
All right. Choices is what your heart would love. Yeah. Essentially, your land of plenty is an opportunity to find out what's truly in your heart for you.
So
and it's what's true for you to do.
Yeah. So I've got the land of plenty and where I'd like to be in a land or community orientation. But
Right.
it's the
So pick one of those themes. So you pick any one of those themes and you go, right, community. Thanks for bringing that up as an example. So I'd love to have a community. Now, you don't know what your wording for that choice is yet, yeah? But you'd love a community, and you make, this is a little bit like adventuring. You go, what's my direction that I want to head in? I want to head in a direction of a community that is what? Supportive and loving. Yeah, that's about the right heading, okay? So then you make your initial choice wording. I choose the end result of a community that's loving and supporting. Like, it's not exactly what you want, but it's like it gives you, within a couple of degrees walking, a northerly direction to walk in. So you head in that direction. So you create a circle, which is the end result of a loving, supportive community. You step into there and you luxuriate in what does that really mean from your higher self. And you imagine what it's like and who you're laughing with and the invitations that come in and the type of people that you're talking and the quality of the conversation and the adventures that you have together and the store of memories that you get and you blah, blah, blah. Now you're in a position to go, what's the true end result that I'm going for here? And your wording is only your gateway to the vision. It's collecting stuff from the vision that's enough for you to reconnect to it. So when you say the words, you go, oh yes, that vision. Yeah, that. So from the vision, you extract a couple of key words that open that gate to the vision for you. And you make that your choice wording. So when you say it, instantly you go, oh, yes, that, all of that other stuff. You don't want to capture all of it, just enough to open the gate to the vision. Does that help you?
I think so. And the two choices.
Go generic, head in a direction, find yourself in a vision, and then describe it from where you are. Describe what the true end result is once you're there. And you don't have to know exactly the right direction to head in to go there.
Yeah, so say community is one and working the land is another.
Purposeful work, friends, family, lovers. Yeah, all the stuff that you find in your land of plenty.
And William mentioned rotating these choices every day to different choices.
Every day, read through your choices and pick two that you have the most resistance to.
Right.
And you do a vision, current reality, vision, get an action step for 2 choices a day. That's the objective. Yeah.
And they have to be different every day from the land of plenty.
Well, they don't have to be different choices every day, but you do have to have taken the action step you got yesterday. If you got an action step yesterday and you haven't taken it yet, don't bother looking for another action step until you've taken that action step. Then redo the choice. But by the end
Thank
of
you
the
very
week,
much for the clarity.
yeah, by the end of the week, you should have worked through all of your choices and taken at least one action step on every choice.
That's great. Thanks for that clarity. Thank you.
No worries at all. No, good thing. Erin,
Thanks so much, Guy.
you're welcome.
I have a lot of confusion around the secondary choices. Can you just maybe briefly go over that? Because I've got these big choices and then there seems to be secondary ones. And then I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what choices do I go through every day? The main ones, the second ones. And so it's a bit confusing. So if you could give me some clarity, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so choices are like a pyramid. There are your foundation or orientational choices, and they are choices that you will never achieve. They are your meta structure. You know, health is something you aspire to, but the moment you start eating burgers and drinking too much beer, what happens? You drop off your health. So you can't ever say, my health is parked in the garage, I never have to think about it again. So I know William's talking about 2 at the moment. Fritz has 4, health, freedom, living your true nature and purpose, and being the predominant creative force in your life. And they sort of stand, pick 2, pick 4, doesn't matter. I like the 4. But those are the meta structure, and they are actually achieved through your primary and secondary choices. Some of your primary choices will be explicit. I want a partner. And once you've got a partner, tick, fantastic, it comes off. Others will be ongoing. I choose to have a loving, beautiful relationship with my family. Well, you're never going to achieve that because the next time you see your sister, you're going to be arguing again. And then you're going to choose to have a fantastic relationship and you'll patch it up and you'll make it right again. And you'll keep working on that the rest of your lives. Your secondary choices are getting more and more granular, more and more specific. Your secondary choices are choices that are very explicit in terms of quantity and time, and they're usually mid to short term. Basically, I like to think of my secondary choices as action steps that are more complicated than just a phone call. If I get an action step in my primaries or my foundational choices, that's more complicated than just picking up the phone and calling somebody. In other words, I get an action step to travel to Japan. Well, that's a bit more complicated than just a phone call. I'll make that a secondary choice, an amazing trip with a family to Japan, because it needs planning and it needs scheduling and it needs saving for, and it needs, a whole lot of other things. So it becomes a good secondary choice. It's going to happen in the next 6 months. I will have done it. Every single one of my secondary choices are definitely very tickable. They are definitive in time or quantity so that I can go, yep, done. And then they go. So does that help? And then I'm reading through my foundational orientational choices. I'm reading through my primary choices. I'm reading through my secondary choices. And I'm going, which one do I feeling like I don't really want to work on? And I go, right, that's the one for the day. Does that help clarify a secondary choice?
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Catherine. Keel. Oh, sorry, Katrina. I haven't got my glasses on. Katharina. There we go.
Katharina.
Katharina. Katharina.
Good morning.
Hey, love.
So that was a very great explanation just to Elizabeth and Aaron, because so that would make sense then why some of my choices change or become more crystallized from the land of plenty. I brought my choices, but some of them don't feel, as much as they appeared in my land of plenty, they don't seem as urgent, not as necessary right now where I am in my current reality, where other choices I feel like that's really what I want to see, my action steps, what happens next. So that is normal that you feel like, no, it's just this what I'm really focusing on right now, because that feels more in my current reality to take the next steps towards my vision. It feels more aligned. Is that correct?
There are seasons, aren't there?
Yeah, okay.
In winter, I'm not spending much time at the beach, but I love the beach.
Sorry.
In winter, I'm not spending much time at the beach, but I love the beach, and I intend to be in the beach. But it's winter. I'm not doing much diving. That's okay. Put it aside until summer. And everything has a time.
And then you can bring in other choices that come maybe out of when you in your circle and things suddenly appear to you, other choices that is that
you bring up a very good point, don't you? There's this as a creator, let's go back to the foundation, the basics of what we are. As a creator, you can choose anything you want. If you want a Ferrari in your garage tomorrow, choose it. Is it egoic? Sure. Maybe it's 100% egoic. What you will find is the things that you choose egoically, even when you get them, you'll get them and go, you know what the insurance is on this Ferrari? And I'm scared of taking it out in case it gets scratched, and I'm worried about this. And, you know, actually, I don't want this bloody thing in my life anymore. It's like, and the neighbor's complaining about the noise every time I turn it on. And the petrol price, this thing eats gas like you're not. I don't actually want it anymore. Fine, get rid of it. Yeah, you can choose to go for and get anything you want. You're a freaking creator. So don't get too hung up on, is this egoic or is this like, and every choice you've got is going to have a component of ego in it and a component of your heart. Don't think you're going to be puritanical and be pure heart. You're not. You're going to have a component in every one of your choices. That's fine. As long as it's 51% or more heart, go for it. And you know what? It's create and adjust, create and adjust. The key is for you to be getting out there and creating freaking stuff. Don't sit there going, I don't know what to choose and I don't know what to go for. Cut that crap out. Go for something. You know, think about it in terms of a soccer field. You're a soccer player and you've got the ball and the whistle goes, freaking start running. And if you run to the right, you know where you're heading, it's a goal, but you're not going to be able to run all the way down the field and then shoot at the goal straight away. You're going to jinx and you're going to turn and you make your way to that end of the field. And I tell you what, if you stand still, you've lost the ball. You need to run. You just run. And if you run right and you work out that's not the right direction, change it. Run left. And if that's not suddenly the wrong direction, pass the ball. You're going to create and adjust, create and adjust, create and adjust, create and adjust. Get creating. Don't get too hung up on, is this the right thing? Is this exactly soul aligned? Is this like, just get creating. And you're never going to go straight line.
Great. I love your examples and your metaphors. They're very, very visualizing.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Get moving, get creating. That's the key. And once you've got it, then you can decide whether you want to keep it or not. And if not, let it go. Create something else. Beautiful. I have one other thing to bring up. Just pop into the chat box for me, if you would. A 1, if you agree that we are here to create our dreams and not our beliefs. Kind of one of those sort of just obvious things, isn't it? It's like, yes, absolutely. No two ways about it. All right. So then put a 2 in the chat box if you've done Creative Warrior. Who's done Creative Warrior? Yeah, fantastic. And if you've done Creative Warrior, do you agree that the way forward is through the curriculum? Because that's the next thing. So it's like working systematically through learning more, and absolutely, yes, 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 yeah, yeah. All coming through, yes, absolutely, 2, yes, yes. Totally, it is. The way forward is to continue with the curriculum, yeah? And, you know, Creative Warrior is the rubedo of the trainings, you know? It's what supports you in anchoring the magic. Yeah, alchemy helps you stay awake, remember? Keeps you awake and not going back to sleep. But Creative Warrior is what makes you take action. And that's was my starting premise today, wasn't it? You do choices to get good action steps. And Creative Warrior makes you take action, yeah? And it's all in the action. You know, this is really important. Creative Warrior is what turns magicians into action takers. So an opportunity's come up, but Williams just told us that there are only 10 spaces for the next Creative Warrior for a scholarship price of $2,000 US. And the price is, he promises, going up to $5,000 after this next round. So any scholarship offered after that will be 2,500. Yeah. So the workshop today is what, the 16th? Today is the 16th, and Creative Warrior is on the 4th to the 7th of August. It's in 19 days time. So it's the last chance for the scholarship price of $2,000 US. So the link for that, oh, well done, Sean, it's already enrolled, is in the chat box there. That's the link, and that's the promo code that will be the last time you get it for that price. Fantastic. I'm certainly going to be there. I know a number of you on this call are going to be there, but I just thought I'd put it out there because this is the last chance you get it for that, and I reckon that's worth doing. So 19 days, you've got to think about it, come up with it, set a vision, step into the end result for you, and if it's truth to do it, then don't hesitate, because seriously, there are only 10 places left for the 4th to the 7th of August. I know there's one in the UK as well, so maybe you can get into that one, but the one for ANZ, 4th to the 7th of August. All right. Beautiful. Thank you, wonderful people. Really lovely to have had this morning with you. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you back in the Academy. Take care.
Thanks, Guy.
You're welcome.
you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers, Martine. Good to see you.
Good stuff.
Bye.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers, Paul. Catch up with you soon. Cheers, Andrea.
Bye.
Bye.